Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name's Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 323 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we'll be discussing chapter 51 of A Dance with Dragons, which is Theon 1.
And as always, we're going to chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you. Unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers, well, then we are going to spoil things for you. Regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge in a little pedantry and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes, they'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm okay. I'm wearing sackcloth and ashes because for the second time in the 6 years of our podcast, I failed to show for the Sustainer call. I am so sorry. I'm sorry to you and I'm sorry to the Sustainers. You know me and my phone. We are rarely in the same room.
True. Yes.
I put it down, I walked the dogs, I came back, I watched TV. Your frantic texts went unanswered. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. We had a good time. We did miss you, of course, because you bring much levity and entertainment to the call. But we had a good time nonetheless. We powered through without you.
Can I point the finger of blame at you?
Sure, why not?
So here's my theory, okay?
Uh-huh.
Usually with Sustainer calls, you ping me at work to tell me, but you changed jobs and you weren't there, and so I didn't get the reminder. So it's all your fault, really.
It is. I did have that thought. I should have texted you earlier in the day, but I forgot to do that.
I promise you, I did not remember it from Saturday onwards. I mean, before earlier, weeks ago, I knew this was coming. But from like Saturday to Tuesday, it never once crossed my mind. I'm so sorry.
In your defense, you have had things going on.
We've had a time of it and continue to have a time of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I've had some events going on in my life, but the listeners don't need to hear about that. But as a result of some of these events, I heard a great story from my brother-in-law, Jake. So that's Carson's brother.
And I just missed that great story.
And you didn't hear this story, so this is all going to be news to you.
I walked in right as everybody was laughing and totally missed why people were laughing.
He told the story of when he was in middle school. So he's a grown-up. But when he was in middle school, he had I think it was a full year or a full semester project to do a 3-generation family tree with as much interviews and first-hand accounts of everything as possible. So it's quite a big project. There's a lot going on in that project. The thing to not do is to tell your mum the night before that you've done nothing.
Oh, yeah. That's what I would have done, though.
That's what most people would have done, too. But so, and really it's a story about his mum and how she was the kind of mum who, I was the kind of dad who would say, well, let this be a salutary lesson to you, young man, that you're going to get a 0 tomorrow. But Jake's mum, Carson's mum, flew out the door, ran to the store, bought materials for a project, raced home, sent Jake to bed, and he woke up the next morning to find her lying on the couch with just like, it looked like a bomb had gone off in a stationery store, like just like bits of paper everywhere, and a 3-ring binder like 3 inches thick with a project that she'd rustled up overnight.
Wow.
For him. Yeah. So he thanked her and took it on the school bus, and being Jake's a lovely guy, but he's not the most inquisitive. He never bothered to even open it. He just like
he's like, oh,
he handed it in and just was like, thought nothing of it. And 3 days later, his history teacher, it was a history project, said, "Hey Jake, can you stay after class?" And he was like, "Uh-oh, busted." He's like, oh no, she's figured it out.
Yeah.
And when the class all filed out, he was left, and she got down on her knees and hugged him and said, Jake, I am so sorry. I had no idea all those things had happened to you.
And he's like, yeah, real tough.
That's exactly what he did. He was like, oh boy, I got to play along at this point. He got an A+ and a free ride for the rest of the year from whatever was in that project. He never found out. He never learned what was in that project.
Oh, well, he did. That really speaks to his lack of inquisitiveness that he didn't go home and say, Mom, what did you put in that project?
Well, can I have that back, please? Because I have some questions.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you'd think he might have asked a question or two to his mom.
Yeah.
Yes. I walked in right as everybody was really laughing, and afterward you said, I got a story that I'm going to share.
So yeah, so what Mackelly's skirting around is it was memorial service for my mother-in-law who passed away. But the thing that cracked me up about all that was that, so looking forward, there was Jake at the lectern with the minister sort of sitting behind Jake. And the only other person in my eye line was the pianist. And the pianist she was a last-minute replacement for the sick pianist, did not know my mother-in-law at all. And she was roaring laughing during Jake's stories.
That is the primary thing that I noticed, is how hard she was laughing at that story.
Yeah. She said afterwards, and I feel like I know that lady.
Well, it was a beautiful ceremony.
Yeah, it was appropriate for my mother-in-law. She was a character, and the ceremony was filled with her character.
Indeed, both. I agree with both statements. Yes.
And thank you for coming. It was very generous of you to.
Well, absolutely. And I got to meet some of the people that are mentioned frequently on the podcast.
I know, my worlds collided all over the place. I mean, we saw our very first boss from when we first met each other.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, the woman who brought us together.
Exactly.
Everyone listening right now can thank her for all of this.
And of course, I mean, just tons of people who you get to hear about all the time. They were all there, in the flesh. And Natalie and Alex, my neighbors, who you often hear about, they loved you. They thought you were great.
We felt the same way. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And of course, it didn't hurt that they lived in Pittsburgh for nearly 20 years or so. So
that did seem to be the spark that led to you guys off. I wandered off and left you to it. I was like, okay, new friends.
I don't have a clue what they're talking about. So.
Yinzers.
That's right.
All right. Well, anyway, let's get down to business. How did we leave Theon? By the way, earlier I said this was Theon 1. In my first pass of these notes, I said Theon 3. I was convinced we'd had at least one Theon named chapter, but you called it. You said none of his chapters. It was a building. Exactly. Yeah. None of his chapters were called Theon until this very one. So last we saw of Theon, he was haunting Winterfell, friendless and alone. Murders were causing friction in the ranks, in particular between the Manderlys and the Freys. He bumped into a hooded man who didn't seem very friendly towards him. He was listening to the sounds of an army amassing beyond the walls, unseen because of the weather. He was hearing Bran's voice and even seeing Bran's face in the Godswood, and was being told by the washerwomen that he needed to speak with Abel, after which he might get the less ignoble death that they overheard him praying for. Mackelly, why don't we give a summary of this one?
Okay. Well, Theon Greyjoy sits at the back of the Great Hall near Abel and two of his women. He's breaking his fast on ale and thinks maybe if he has a few more, the bard's plan might not seem so mad. Roose Bolton and his pregnant wife Walda sit at the high table and are soon met by Roose's son Ramsay. Theon prays that Ramsay doesn't look at Theon. If he does, Ramsay would see the treachery written on Theon's face. Theon needs reassurance that Abel won't let Theon fall into Ramsay's hands. The woman named Squirrel assures him that Abel's word is as strong as oak.
Up on the dais, Ramsay and his father argue. Theon is too far away to hear the words, but the fear on Walder's face tells Theon all he needs to know. His mind drifts towards the pain of punishment should Ramsay catch them in the act of defiance. At which point the hall door slams open and Hosteen Frey bursts forth, a body in his arms.
A dozen knights accompany Hoster, as well as a blood-spattered Big Walder. The body was that of Little Walder. Theon glances at Rowan, who says, "This was not our work." Up at the dais, Big Walder explains that he found his cousin's body under the ruined keep, that he told Little Walder not to go out alone, but Little Walder wanted to find a man who owed him money. He doesn't know the man, but it was the Manderlys who taught him to dice.
So Hosteen shouts that they all know who murdered the 9-year-old, indicating Lord Wyman Manderly, not literally because the Lord is too fat, but by his order, and asks Manderly if he denies the accusation. Wyman says he did not know the boy, but maybe this was for the best. Had he lived, he would have grown up a Frey. With that, Hosteen kicks the table over, pinning Wyman in place, then draws steel and slashes Wyman across the throat. Chaos reigns until a Bolton force can restore order.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes. By the time they do, 6 White Harbor men and 2 Freys lay dead, and Ramsay's man Lutton lays dying. Ramsay runs a spear through him to silence his cries. When the hall quiets, Lord Roose speaks. He unrolls a parchment from a raven and announces that Stannis is stuck in the snow 3 days' ride from here. He orders Sir Hosteen to assemble his men. They will deliver the first blow to Stannis. The Manderlys will accompany them. Roose commands Abel to play soothing songs.
Rowan whispers that it must be now, before the attack on Stannis. Theon tells her to gather her sisters. The pair make for the Godswood. Hidden in the frozen whiteout of the storm, the two argue over which one of them is a child killer. Theon believes Rowan and her sisters killed Little Walder. She denies it. She accuses him of kinslaying. He says that he killed no brothers of his and can't help remembering the miller's wife and her murdered sons.
The other 5 women arrive dressed as serving girls. The plan is for Squirrel to change places with Arya, then climb down the tower walls once she's alone in the chamber. She's climbed the wall, capital W wall, 6 times, so she feels up for the task. First, they need hot water for Arya's bath. In the kitchen, the women do their best to look inconspicuous, but that's actually drawing attention because serving girls are notoriously flirty and chatty. And when a guard asks, Theon says the regular girls were dismissed by Lady Arya. Laden with buckets of rapidly cooling water, the group successfully passed the various guards to gain entry to Arya's room.
The new bride is missing from her bed, and the room appears to be empty, but the Theon notices a subtle trembling in a pile of wolfskins. Theon gently coaxes Jane out and hushes her when she nearly reveals her true name. Rowan tells her that they are taking Arya to her brother Jon at Castle Black. Thinking it's a trap, Jane cries and promises she's a good girl and loves her husband. It is only when Theon tells her that they are taking her away does she beg for help.
Squirrel and Jane swap clothing, and all but Squirrel, who's left behind to play Arya, make it back to the yard undiscovered. The group traverses the trenches in the snow, now over their heads. Rowan says Frenya and Holly with Theon and Arya. The rest will get Abel. At the gate, a guard stops them, asking if it's Reek. Theon calls himself Theon Greyjoy. He's brought the men some women to keep them warm. Holly kisses one guard and slides her knife into his neck. The second guard struggles with Frenya before being run through with his own spear.
At the sight, Jane lets out a shrill scream. Holly knows it will bring the kneelers down on them. Frenya stays to hold off the men, while Theon, Jane and Holly cross the drawbridge and climb the stairs to the outer wall. When they reach the top, Holly realizes that Frenya still has the rope. Seconds later, a crossbow bolt slams into her stomach. Shouting below announces the men. Theon and Jane try to run, but men block them on both sides. When another bolt nearly misses Theon, he grabs Jane and they jump.
Hopefully to the outside.
Outside. That would be my choice too.
Yes.
Deeper snow and also outside.
Yes. Both are very risky moves, but the higher percentage is the outside jump.
If they survive the fall inside, then they're going to die anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
So, as I said before, you were the one who noticed that Theon's arc was sort of illustrated by the naming of the chapters, that he began the book as Reek, and then he had a couple of chapters where he was something else, the Ghost in Winterfell?
Right, the Ghost in Winterfell. And I feel like there was another.
I feel like there was too, yeah.
Named
like Prince of Winterfell?
Well. Might have been, yes.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
And now finally Theon, and he actually called himself Theon, which is like a momentous moment when he was asked if that's Reek coming, and he said, no, it's Theon Greyjoy. That would have made the soul, if they're not Frey soldiers, if they're Bolton soldiers, that would have made them take a step back in surprise.
Right. A little bit risky time to choose to call yourself Theon Greyjoy, but so, he's on a redemption arc, slowly but surely, hence the naming of the chapters. Is he doing enough? I mean, he's doing something, but he's not a completely willing participant in that something. Right.
And he secretly knows the truth about the thing he's doing, that the thing he's doing is not what other people think he's doing. He is not rescuing Arya Stark, for she is not there. He knows he's rescuing Jane Poole. And his crimes are pretty big. You could easily say that Robb is dead because of his crimes, and maybe his crimes aren't as bad as Jaime Lannister's, because I was trying to think of which of the characters are on redemption arcs, and Jaime's the other one.
He's the other main one, yes.
Yeah, but in some ways, Theon's crimes are less in terms of the story, because he just killed 2 random children. But he murdered 2 random children versus Jaime pushing out a very non-random child out of a window.
Yes, you're right. Both of them... yes, Theon killed 2 absolutely innocent children who had nothing to do with anything. Well, he agreed to it.
He did not do it,
Yes. Yeah. And Jaime pushed Bran out of a window for a purpose.
Yes. And they both had a similar purpose, which was to hide the truth of what they were up to.
Right. So it's hard to... they're both equally as terrible. So,
right, yeah. It feels like Jaime's is more terrible just because it's a named character. It's a character we knew and loved.
Yes.
But in actual fact, humanity-wise, it was worse what Theon did because he killed 2 children.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm just saying, is it enough? Jaime, I feel like maybe is doing enough because Jaime is sacrificing almost everything to try and save Sansa and Arya. Not everything, but he's given up his Valyrian steel sword, a trinket in some ways.
Right.
But he's also alienating himself from his family for it,
Very true. Yeah, he's certainly been more of a willing participant in his attempt to be a better person.
Right. True enough, yeah. Whereas Theon is just a shell of a man who wants out of this mess, and he's taking the opportunity.
Yeah, it's... Theon's so complicated at this point.
Yeah.
Because he does have regrets. He thinks in this chapter he's a turncloak, and Robb is the closest thing he's ever had to a true brother, and he should have died at the Red Wedding with him.
Yeah.
And, that's not the route he chose. And he certainly has remorse and regret. And there's nothing else he can do at this point to
No.
help make up.
That's true. He's doing the one thing that he can do, which is to rescue Jane. But
Right.
it would come a lot closer to redemption if he was rescuing the true Arya. But he knows he isn't, you know. And he's slightly craven as well, because if he wasn't self-serving here, he would tell Abel and the Washwomen the truth.
Yeah.
He'd be like, yeah, look, I'll help you with this plan, but I got something you should know before we all risk our lives here.
Yes.
And he doesn't do that. Now, why does he not do that? Does he not trust them? Right, he doesn't trust them. But I don't think he doesn't trust them that they'll reveal that to people. I think he doesn't trust them that he thinks they won't bother to rescue him if that turns out to be the truth.
And so there's a line when he is, he's still, I believe he is still at the Great Hall having his breakfast with Abel and Rowan around him. And he thinks about how Abel is bent on making off with Ned's daughter. And he thinks to himself, if he knew she was a steward's whelp, well, and then he never finishes his thought. So is he implying that deep down he wants to escape and help Jane and doesn't want the plan to stop if it's found out, well, this isn't actually Arya?
Well, that's true. I've been assuming this is all Theon being self-serving, but actually he has a fondness for Jane and feels terrible for Jane and wants to rescue her. And hiding her true identity from her would-be rescuers guarantees that they'll at least try to rescue her.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you're right. Theon's complicated.
He's really
it's not
complicated.
Easy to say, you know. Almost everything he does, you can see ulterior motives for, you know, and some good, some bad. The best version of Theon is quite good, and the worst version is pretty terrible.
Yeah, he saved Bran's life back when they met Osha, when he was taken by the I can't remember the name of the brother of the Night's Watch who was escaping with Osha. But he killed him with the arrow, and then Robb got mad at him because he could have hit Bran with the arrow. Yeah. But he did it, you know. But
I'm not so much thinking about original Theon. Original Theon was what he was, you know. I'm talking about the now Theon, the Reek Theon, you know.
Yes.
That's a complicated creature. The original Theon wasn't a very complicated creature. He was a hedonist and you know,
very much
egomaniac, basically.
Yes.
So it seems that Walder is pregnant, although, you know, good eye for spotting that, Theon, because he was. But we've talked before. In fact, the book has talked before about the danger of a Bolton child coming from that marriage. I mean, didn't Roose himself say he expected Ramsay to murder whatever comes out of Walder?
Yes. He definitely did. Now, pregnancy is dangerous in this era, regardless. You know, they don't have modern medicine like we have access to, but it's especially dangerous because of the possible threat to Ramsay's inheritance and standing as his father's heir. Now, he is the legitimized oldest son, so theoretically he should remain heir.
Yeah.
But if this unborn child happens to be a boy and the son of Roose and his current wife, might special treatment be in order? Might he be moved up the heir?
Right, exactly. I think Roose can write his will the way he wants to, you know, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he were to choose his legitimate child over his legitimized child, who he knows is a psychopath, you know.
Yeah, and Roose has strongly suggested to Theon when we were there listening to it that Ramsay poisoned his son Domeric when Domeric reached out to Ramsay to get to know his brother when he found out that he existed. So surely Roose would be smart enough to handle this in a way that doesn't compromise his youngest child. But Barbara Dustin, she told Theon that Roose simply likes to play games with people and see how they react. So,
but that's the game I would play with Ramsay if I was Roose is sending Walder and the baby 1,000 miles away to be raised until the baby is 17 years of age.
At the twins or something.
At the twins, exactly.
Yes.
At the twin on the far side of the river.
Yes.
At whichever side of the river Ramsay is not on, the other twin.
My biggest concern is the flippant way that Roose has handled what he believes is the fact that Ramsay killed his son Domeric. There doesn't seem to be any kind of concern over this or retribution for it.
I mean, it could be that he's a completely unfeeling monster. It could be that all he cares about is his genetic lineage. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's his genes in charge, you know. Ramsay, the new baby, doesn't matter anything at all to him. So Ramsay or Domeric, it doesn't matter to him. Or he could be just someone who sort of like, the past is the past and he just turns it off. You know, maybe at the time of Domeric's death, he was, you know, completely destroyed. But hey, this is what fate has dealt us now. We got to go with Ramsay, even if we suspect he was the one, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I see you.
None of them paint a great picture of it, by the way.
No, but I see what you're saying there. Now, Theon sees from his spot at the back of the Great Hall, Roose and Ramsay arguing up on the dais, and he notices that Walder looks afraid. And my first thought is that Roose and Ramsay were arguing over tactics to deal with Stannis. My guess would be Roose wants to sit tight and Ramsay wants to ride out. It's Walder's look that adds a layer of depth to what they might be arguing about up there. She could be afraid of the talk of battle. That's possible. It's a scary thing.
But there felt like an immediacy to her concern, to her fear.
Yes, and it's Theon didn't give us what he gained from that, but seeing her face it spoke volumes to him. He got what he needed to know just by looking at her face, which makes you think it was more personal, like you said, possibly about the unborn child that she's carrying.
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes.
But what would Ramsay say to Roose?
Yeah, that's the question.
I mean, you can imagine Ramsay saying something to Walder to make her look afraid, but to Roose, oh, congratulations on that baby, I'm going to murder it. It just seems a little bit on the nose, you know?
Yeah, maybe he is saying something like, that child will never be your heir. I am your heir. Or, you know, if you know what's good for that child, something like that.
I feel like Ramsay's a little bit more calculating than that, you know?
Maybe.
I just feel like he's got like an unctuousness to him. Like he could say, oh, I can't wait to meet my half-brother or half-sister. They're going to be so sweet. I'm going to be bouncing them on my knee. You know what I mean? I mean,
I do.
Feels more like Ramsay to me, you know?
Because of the way he handled Theon when he was pretending to be Reek, it gives you that idea. But we've also seen him be impulsive and react in a rage-filled manner at things that displease him.
But was he just discovering that they were pregnant? Is that what it was, do you think?
You wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either. That's why I never really thought about her fear. I just assumed they were talking about the battle situation. And then but the thing is about that is I can't think of anything that could be said to make her afraid other than, oh my God, they're here and there's way more of them than we thought, and, something like that. But
Yes,
that
which
didn't
seems
seem to,
unlikely.
yes, it didn't seem to be the way the chapter panned out.
Right.
Interesting. Well, one to keep an
Yeah,
eye on.
for
Um,
sure.
so Hosteen Frey brings in the body of Little Walder, who is only 9. It's funny, in my mind, the Little and Big Walder were quite a bit older than that. They were
Me too. I was thinking they were 10 to 12 or
yeah, maybe
so.
13 even,
Yeah.
just like horrible little snots who deserved everything they got. But now I feel a little bit bad for going, ha ha, in your face, Little Walder. But I'm glad it was Little Walder because he was more horrible than Big Walder, right? As I recall. Yeah.
He definitely was. Yeah. Little Walder was the son of Merritt, who died in the epilogue of A Storm of Swords, and also the little brother of Walda, who was sitting there on the dais.
Oh, big sister.
Yes.
Is it conceivable that that's what Ramsay was saying?
It doesn't seem like they were aware yet.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because we don't see her reaction to her brother's body being brought in. But you know what? If you're a Frey, I mean, she probably doesn't remember it's her brother either.
Well, so Big Walder is the only one with any sort of evidence, and conveniently, he blames the Manderlys. He says that Little Walder insisted on going out and finding someone who owed him silver from dicing, and that he can't say for sure who it was, but it was the Manderlys that taught him dicing. So, and Hosteen ties Little Walder's death in with the other family members that were at White Harbor having gone missing, and 100% blames Wyman for this, which is a nice, big, convenient bow to wrap all of this into. Although, admittedly, part of that is almost surely true. The missing phrase.
Well, true. Yes, that is true.
But then that begs the question, though, right? Who killed Little Walder?
Yeah. You see, Theon doesn't believe the washerwomen, but we believe the washerwomen because they have no reason to lie to Theon at this point.
Right.
They've admitted to some of these murders, but they're denying some of them too.
Yes.
And
he didn't even have to ask. He glanced at her, and she audibly said back to him, "This wasn't our work."
Which, by the way, almost made it to pedantry for me because I'm like, do not utter those words. Because Abel tells her to be quiet, right?
Yes.
It's like, you shoot him a look, give him a, not us kind of thing. Right. But don't say anything. Good grief.
A non-verbal cue would have been much preferred at that point.
Yeah.
So another possibility is the Manderlys, but it just doesn't seem their pattern to murder a 9-year-old boy.
He is a Frey, though.
And Wyman does show very little sympathy and has the whole line, maybe it's for the best, otherwise he would grow up a Frey, but I just don't know what the advantage, what the angle would be for Wyman to have a 9-year-old boy murdered.
When I squish a cockroach, I don't typically have an angle or looking for an advantage. They just... It offended me.
The difference there is that there aren't hundreds of thousands of other cockroaches that are going to attack you for it.
Possibly there are, Possibly there are.
True. I hope there aren't, but...
So, yeah, so we don't know. The other one, of course, is the hooded figure from last time. That might be the murderer who seems to be wandering around Winterfell however he likes and probably bumps off the Freys when he feels like. I sure would.
Yeah. I was thinking, could it be Big Walder? We saw in a previous Reek chapter that he was kind of fed up with Little Walter's antics as Ramsay's protege. And
that's true.
Reek, back when Theon was still Reek, he thought to himself that Big Walder rarely took part in the cruelties that Little Walder reveled in. So maybe there was some sort of argument that got heated and spiraled out of control. And conveniently, there was a perfect person, a perfect group to pin it on.
Right, true. Yes, he's the one voicing the pointed finger, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
And he was covered in blood. And now he could have been covered in blood because he was trying to resuscitate his cousin. That would be the primary reason, but I don't know. It's a mystery at this point, I guess. But bodies are piling up.
For sure.
10 more dead here. I think it was 6 to... Oh, Walder. Yeah, so there was 10. Yeah.
Doesn't that make 9?
Well, Lutton as well.
Okay.
Ramsay's man. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe Stannis' best bet is to just stay away and let them
the snow. Yeah.
kill themselves here. It's headed that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of working perfectly because, I mean, if he had reached the walls and was now besieging them, they would have a common enemy and they'd calm down. But because they don't, this infighting continues with the murders and then the civil war that's basically breaking out.
Yeah. Now, when the fighting is stopped, Theon, what's his name? What's our POV character? Theon, that's his name.
That guy is Theon 1. You weren't to know.
Well, yeah, that's right. I haven't heard his name in a while. Theon notices that Roose has gotten a raven that contains the information about Stannis' position, and I wondered, from whom did this raven come? Because everybody inside the castle seems to think that Stannis his force is directly outside the walls.
Yes, I mean, they hear the sounds of armies, so
yes,
they're losing their marbles.
This bird seemed to have incredibly accurate information, because last we saw, Stannis was stuck in a crofter's village, and the info that this raven brought was that he's a 3 days ride, check, stuck in the snow, check, and starving. All of those are accurate bits of information, so who sent it?
Do you think maybe it's a fake? Maybe Roose decided he didn't know any of that, just happened to land on the correct answers. He just wants them to ride out. I mean, maybe we talked before about how that sounded more like Ramsay than Roose, but maybe he does want them to go, hunt and fight, hopefully, just to stop them from
steam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it is weird otherwise. Where did it come from? I mean, how about this? It is Stannis right outside the walls, but he sends a raven over the wall that says they're 3 days ride away. Leave the door open.
Yeah. No need to worry about immediate danger. They're 3 days away. Well, the last update we got on Arnulf Karstark is that he was headed for Stannis, but had not arrived. So
maybe
he
from
seems
him.
like a possible candidate, unless there is a spy in Stannis' force.
True.
Who is sending information, but they would need access to a raven.
Right. Yeah. It's not like a dead letter drop with invisible ink.
Yeah.
What are you doing with that raven? Oh, nothing.
Oh, nothing.
So Rowan, one of the washerwomen, was very offended when Theon used Ned Stark's words when he said winter is coming. I forget the context. Where did he say winter is coming? Just because of the weather?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, it was when they first got into the Godswood, just the two of them, when they were waiting on the other women.
Right.
That's what started the whole fight between the two of them.
And she did not like that, did she?
No, and if they're wildlings, which Squirrel talking about having climbed the wall 6 times, and Willow and Holly both referring to the men as kneelers, kind of confirm that they are wildlings.
They're certainly committed to the bit if they're not.
If they are wildlings, it's a little bit surprising that they even know the Stark words, let alone care about him using the Stark words.
But I guess if they are who we think they are, they rode south from the wall with Mance Rayder, and he might have filled them in on a little bit of history of Winterfell on his way on the ride down.
Yeah. That's possible. It still would be odd that she would be offended by I don't ever want to hear Eddard Stark's words coming out of your mouth, Kinslayer.
But they know enough about Theon to know all that, to know that he killed Bran and Rickon all those things about him, you might piece it together. Hey, he shouldn't be saying that. I get your point. It's interesting that she was so offended. If she was of the North, totally understand it.
Yes,
those words
absolutely.
should not come out of Theon's mouth. But being that she's a wildling,
Yes, and
all right, repeat all that in pedantry.
Right. Oh, so then they get into this whole you killed 2 kids, you killed a kid. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Although Theon doesn't say I didn't kill 2 boys. He says I didn't kill brothers.
I think he said I'm not a kinslayer is what he actually said. He denied being a kinslayer, which is true. I mean, he isn't.
No.
Even if you and specifically in his case, he's not even a foster brother killer because he killed 2 randos.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But it makes him think back on the Miller's family. And just as a reminder, we discussed in that chapter is that one of those boys might possibly have been Theon's because he had a sexual relationship with the Miller's wife.
Yeah.
And so it's possible that he had his own
one
son
or both
killed.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the Miller's wife was killed in that she was killed while begging for mercy.
Although, I suppose the older one would have been too old, but the younger one, is possible. Because he would have been too... If these kids were roughly of an age with Bran and Rickon, Theon is not old enough to be Bran's father, even being of the North.
Right, probably
not. But he would just about be old enough to be Rickon's father, so yeah.
Yeah. But he mentions here, he thinks to himself here, that he's gotten the strength to help rescue Jane from the old gods calling him Theon, which we heavily suspect might be Bran's work.
Yeah.
Calling Theon through the weirwood. But that's what's his realization that the old gods know him and called him by name, have given him strength to help take on this task here.
Yeah. It's interesting that, a lot of people get their courage from sort of not bogus, but not necessarily believable sources. It doesn't take much to give you that self-belief,
Yeah.
A coin toss going your way can make you think, all right, I'm invincible. Or, the wind blowing through the trees just the right moment can make you think something, yeah.
Yeah.
So the plan to rescue Jane was, fairly simple. Go up there under the guise of bringing her hot water for her bath. Plausible because she has a bath pretty much every day. Not the regular women because the previous women had displeased Arya. Reasonable. Switch clothes with Squirrel. Squirrel climbs out the window. Everything seems good. The one bit that was sure to bring this down was Jane being unable to keep calm.
Yes.
And that was what they were worried about from the get-go. She is a mess. She is a complete wreck. She is the female equivalent of Reek, basically.
I had the same thought. Ramsay turned her into the same but opposite of Reek. Whereas Reek is filthy and smells awful, Jane is constantly being bathed.
Right.
But they're both broken mentally and terrified of disappointing Ramsay.
Yeah.
And we didn't hear this, but she mentions how she'll do whatever he wants.
Right.
He doesn't need to take her feet.
Right.
So he's clearly threatened her that way. But there are physical, actual bite marks all over her when she is chained. When she comes out from under the furs, they notice. So
and you notice that the hiding under the wolf skins is kind of an interesting metaphor for what she's doing as well. She's not Arya, if you recall.
Right, and Ramsay hunts wolves, which is also symbolic, which is why he sleeps under wolf skins. And yes, Jane's hiding her identity under a Stark, and then. The description is that she stands up and the wolf skins slide away and she is naked underneath. And that's when she almost reveals that she is Jane Poole and not Arya Stark.
Yes.
Theon puts
No. Now's not the time.
Now.
I'm almost out of here. So the plan goes pretty much perfectly. They get out of there, and then they split up, leaving only 2 women, Holly and Frenya, go with Theon and Jane to the gate, while the rest go to find Abel, presumably to rendezvous?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. You think this is a good decision because you think that if all the women had come to the gate, it would have been hard to convince the guards. But you know what? Guards, men who want to have sex, would rarely count the number of women and think, well, that's too many.
That's too... no way.
Yeah, come on.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah. I was surprised they didn't have a better plan for dealing with the guards at the gate than Theon making it up as he gets there.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. The plan he made up was the obvious plan, and so you kind of feel like the women should have just taken the lead and just like. But in actual fact, I don't think the women do it very well because they should have worked simultaneously.
Yes, I had the same thought. Why was Frenya just standing there when Holly killed the other one? So what happens
at
is
spear's length?
Yes, Holly kisses the one guard and stabs him in the neck, and Frenya then has to fight the other man who was just watching it all happen for the spear.
Right.
And it's that kind of fight, and then Frenya killing him that causes Jane to scream.
Yeah. This is not... I'm going to have a bit of pedantry about this later on, but some sort of almost pedantry, but not quite. I don't think, given all that she's experienced, seeing a man run through by a spear would trigger Jane. She's seen enough to go, ha, good. But she's on a tightrope here, so I kind of get it. But at the same time, I was a little disappointed in her for screaming, and to me it was like, I don't know if she would have screamed. She might have bitten her tongue, but I didn't think she would actually scream at that.
I completely agree, and I also agree that I'm technically withholding judgment because she's been through just one awful ordeal after another since the sack of the Tower of the Hand, and it's only been worsening since she met Ramsay.
Yeah. The funny thing is, actually, they touched on earlier in the escape a reason she might have screamed, which is one of the women gets groped on the way out. And I could see that triggering her.
Yep.
Luckily, it wasn't Jane, and so she got here. So I just wondered if maybe they should have reversed that and had this guy grope Jane to cause the thing, and then they're forced to kill him. But anyway, I just thought, she knows her life's at risk here. I just think she might have been able to stifle that scream.
And she screamed when the second man was killed.
Right.
When she just saw a man get killed, so she knew what the women were doing here.
In many ways, the first killing was more revolting as well, because it was like knife through the chin and up into the throat and blood spurting out of his mouth and everything. The second one was a spear to the guts, which feels like it would be less horrible to witness. But anyway, so Holly and Frenya are very brave. Frenya in particular, she stays behind to secure their passage across the drawbridge so that the 3 of them get across. Holly then gets killed by a couple of crossbow bolts. So it's not gone to plan, but
no,
that is only, as far as we know, 2 dead. Squirrel could survive. The women who went to get Abel could be fine. And Jane and Theon jump off an 80-foot wall, but into, I don't know how deep a snowdrift has to be to protect you from an 80-foot fall, but it could be 30 feet, and that might be enough. You might just come like a pillow.
From 80 feet, I'm not even sure a pillow's going to do much good.
Good point.
I mean, Theon, at the beginning of this chapter, Theon asked Abel to recommit to the promise that Abel would never let Theon be in Ramsay's hands again. So maybe he felt that it was worth the risk to make this jump, and either you survive the fall or you don't survive the fall. But regardless, it's better than the alternative, which is being taken captive and the punishment that would come with that.
Very true. Very true. Okay. So it's time for some spoilers. If you join the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer levels, you can get the spoilers and you can try any tier for a week for free. All right. Excellent spoilers. Thank you. How about some background?
Okay. Well, so Theon and Jane either survive their fall and hopefully get away, or they don't survive it. In either case... I think
you've covered the bases. Well done.
Yes, they're either going to live or they're not going to live. Either case, we're going to lose our POV in Winterfell unless we get a new one popping up here.
True.
So, just in case this is the last time we're here for a while, let's take a look back at the beginnings of this venerable old castle. So legend has it that Winterfell was built by who else but Bran the Builder, founder of House Stark. Brandon supposedly had the help of giants in its construction, and that's a little bit ironic because the man the songs credit as being Bran's father was named Brandon of the Bloody Blade, who was a son of Garth Greenhand. This Brandon was credited with driving the giants out of the Reach and for killing an untold number of children of the forest. He killed so many children of the forest in a battle at Blue Lake that the lake was renamed Red Lake. That fact only adds to the irony because the current Bran Stark is in training to become a Green Seer of the Children of the Forest.
I wonder if every time they mention his name, they're like, that guy.
Right. Yeah. Bran, couldn't you have been Rickon? Gotta be called Brandon.
Also, Bran the Builder, probably like his father drove the giants out of the Reach. Maybe he drove them all to Winterfell to work on his son's castle.
Yeah, that could be. Maybe it was totally misinterpreted by the singers. Yeah. He said, please go help my son.
Yeah. Yes. Here are some chains to help you along the way. All right, compared to the television show, so I've kind of skirted around this, but I've decided to just say it this time. This whole story was transposed into Theon and Sansa.
Yes.
Sansa was the one being terrorized in Winterfell by Ramsay. But the whole plan and execution are just Sansa and Theon. There's nobody helping them. It's just the two of them. Right. There's no Abel, no washerwoman. In particular, the leap into the snow is kept. Theon goes through more of a cusp in the show when he throws Ramsay's lover, Miranda, off the walls onto the inside and just I think what we were talking about before, he tested the theory that the inside was not the place to land because Miranda splatted pretty hard. Miranda, was planning to recapture Sansa and return her to Ramsay. She actually had Sansa in her sights with a bow and arrow when Theon threw her off the inside of the wall.
I do vaguely remember this, yes.
Yeah.
A pivotal scene.
Yes, indeed. And when you watch it on YouTube, you get lots of comments about, yay! You know, like people very happy that she died. Pedantry Corner. So coming back to Jane's scream, it seemed surprising to me that Jane's scream should bring all hell down upon them. Yep. The place was in chaos and turmoil. There were soldiers running back and forth. Sporadic female screams wouldn't seem that surprising to me.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, it just seemed like it felt like he just needed the chapter to wrap up a little bit so he could have triggered something more than it actually would have done. I thought that scream was not enough.
I was going to put it in pedantry as well, and you already had it in there.
Right. So. The thing that would have made it more compelling is if sounds of alarm were coming from the tower where she'd been, and then she screamed. So word that she was missing had reached, and then she screamed. That would have made a bit more sense. But just the scream on its own felt like it wouldn't have caused crossbow bolts to be fired at them.
Yes, 100%. The single shout of a girl amidst the hustle and bustle of the prep for war. There was a war horn that went off. The Freys were being called to form up the Freys were being called to form up for battle.
Right.
And they were at a gate. So they were at the far end of the yard.
Right.
Where visibility is near zero right now. And they dropped, there was a line when they left the tower with Jane in tow, that they dropped the pails 10 yards from the Great Keep because they were already lost from sight from the
very
keep,
good.
You know,
yes.
the guards couldn't even see them 10 yards away. And then there's a line where Theon tells us that the trenches in the yard, because they have to keep digging out these trenches, are higher than their heads. So, then there's a mention of half-heard shouts that echoed strangely in the storm. And that they could have been in the land of always winter because it was so snowy and white. So how there was any idea where that scream came from is just
and that it was Arya.
Me.
And that it was Arya. It could have been any woman.
Yes, you hear one lone scream in that chaos, in that situation. Just how do they rally fast enough to that spot before they can escape?
And just one other thing that I was thinking about this the last time I read it, and then you just commented on it. They did empty the water into her bathtub, right? They didn't bring the water back out with them.
I sure hope so.
I had this terrible feeling that they brought the water back with them, like to throw at the guards or something if they needed to. I was like, please no. But they just threw away the pails. They didn't empty them. They threw the pails away. Okay, fine.
Well, they did forget to take the rope up to the wall with them.
Yes, so... but that was in extremis. But the thing is, you see, Fenya, instead of like fighting them, she should have said, "It's okay, I just stubbed my toe. It's okay."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
As you were.
Carry on.
All right. That's good. I'm glad we had a little bit of pedantry. I always like a bit of pedantry.
Yes.
So news and notes. Hey, it was a really fun sustainers call. Okay.
It was, I can tell you that.
That's what it says here. I'm so sorry.
Oh, hey, it happens. It happens. We had a good time. So no worries.
Well, you get to read the positive review. We'll do my penance.
Well, how do you pronounce...
I go for...
Histerwalt?
H. Steyerwalt.
H. Steyerwalt from podchaser.com left this review. My absolute favorite A Song of Ice and Fire podcast! Exclamation point. Enough said. But I will keep reading. But that right there is good enough for me. I've been listening on and off for a couple of years now. Truly, I don't even know how long. What is time, anyway, to George Martin readers? I've reread the series twice already, and this has been such an enjoyable way to revisit it through someone else's eyes. I feel like Simon and Mackelly are my old dear friends, and I've enjoyed hearing about your lives, your kids growing up, and all of Simon's silly stories.
When I read this out to Carson earlier, I was like, Mackelly has silly stories too. I was like, it's true. Yes, it's not fair that it's only me that gets a mention there.
As a physicist, I enjoy the occasional science footnote as well.
Walt and I will have a secret handshake.
I'm halfway through A Dance of Dragons, and I figured I should leave you a review before it comes to an end. I'm still clinging on to a thread of hope that Winds of Winter will be released soon after you two are finished. If not, I support the idea of doing Dunk and Egg in the meantime. With the TV show airing this month, Simon could even do a comparison with the TV show segment. Anywho, keep up the good work, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. That's a great review. We really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. And it came up on the Sustainer call last night, what's going to happen here in a few months. And I said, we don't want to commit to anything, but we are going to figure out where
eventually we're going to have to talk about this.
Yes, we are. Yeah. I think we've both been kind of avoiding it because
kicking it down the road.
Yeah.
All right, so let's conclude this one. Theon's redemption is complete. I'm using air quotes, ladies and gentlemen. He has at least broken his reconditioning. See what I did there?
See what you did, yes. And sadly, this is the last Theon POV chapter of A Dance with Dragons.
Is there one with a new name that might be a Theon?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I've scanned through them, and I don't see any that that jump out at me anyway.
One and done for Theon.
Yes. So we'll have to wait for Winds to see whether he and Jane survive this fall or not, I guess.
More trouble in the Bolton alliance. I mean, all facets of it, from his wife and son to his liege lords being at each other's throat, literally killing each other in the Great Hall, and now sort of like slightly confusing news from outside the walls, leading them into perhaps a foolhardy charge from the safety of Winterfell.
Yeah, what should be safety, it turns out is more dangerous inside the walls than possibly outside the walls.
Outside we might win this battle. Inside we're definitely losing. Slowly, but we are losing.
Right.
And they got away. I mean, we believe that they should conceivably survive the fall, and hopefully there's somebody on their side close enough for them to get rescued. That would be the hope.
Yeah, step 1, survive the fall,
Right.
and then go from there. Yeah, I mean, if they made it all the way to Stannis, we do have a POV character in Stannis' camp.
Yeah, that's true.
Sister, Asha Greyjoy. So, we might not have to wait till Winds of Winter.
I wonder if, before he wrote Winds, I wonder if he was leaving this open-ended, that he could actually just kill them off. Just say, yeah,
Yeah.
kids,
sure.
don't jump from 80-foot walls. Doesn't matter how much it snowed.
It's a low chance of survival probability there, even with snow. Yeah.
All right, well, next time we have a Dany chapter. Let's see how things are going for our Lady of the Dragons.
Snap right back to Meereen.
Yep. There's 3 ways that you can help us out. You can leave us a positive review, like H-Star Walt did, and a 5-star rating if you could. You can buy us a cup of Arbor Gold at buymeacoffee.com/ghostsharrenhall. There you can become a sustainer at any of the various levels. There's a tier to match your budget and interest. The upper tiers get you the spoilers, and all the tiers are available for free for a week to try them out. Or you can just make a donation directly to our cause through our website, ghostsofharrenhall.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, one thing you can do is you can send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode show notes. Please just keep in mind we have no means of responding, but we do enjoy reading them. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghosts of Harrenhal news and developments, well, you can check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghosts Harrenhal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.